the question that never dies.
In the vast darkness of space, one question has burned brighter than any star. Who or what created all of this? Since the dawn of human consciousness, we have gazed at the night sky and asked, where did it all come from? For some, the answer is clear: God. For others, the answer lies in science, in laws of physics and cosmic evolution. But what if both are true? I am a cosmologist, a scientist who studies the universe itself. I spend my life working with formulas, telescopes, simulations, but I'm also, in my own way, a dreamer, a soul who believes that in the silence between equations, there are whispers, echoes of something deeper. And today, I invite you on a journey that will take us from the farthest galaxies to the very origin of existence itself. A journey where black holes meet angels, where quantum fields tangle with divine intention. Because to ask whether God created the universe is not just a scientific question, it is the question. Ancient myths, eternal questions, long before we had physics or mathematics, humans used myth to explain reality. The Vikings feared Skirl, the giant wolf who swallowed the sun and brought on the dreaded eclipse. The Greeks believed in Helios driving a chariot of fire across the sky. And in nearly every culture, a divine being was credited with creating the cosmos. These myths weren't foolish. They were humanity's first science. Their way of saying, we see the mystery, we want to understand it. But over time, another path opened, the path of observation, deduction, and reason. The first break from heaven, Aristarchus and the shadow of the moon. Around 300 BCE, a Greek thinker named Aristarchus dared to question divine explanations. Observing a lunar eclipse, he proposed that the earth cast a shadow on the moon, and that earth, not the gods, was the cause. Then came his boldest idea. The earth is not the center of the universe. The earth orbits the sun. In an age of gods, this was heresy, but it was also the birth of cosmology. Aristarchus cracked the first layer of myth and found beneath it laws of the mind. Now fast forward 2 millennia to a man in a wheelchair, locked in a failing body, speaking only through a computer connected to his brain. Stephen Hawking, he once said, although I cannot move and I have to speak through a computer, in my mind, I am free. He believed that the universe was governed not by whims of deities, but by natural laws, that everything from the orbit of a planet to the beat of your heart could be explained if we were brave enough to look. And yet, Hawking never dismissed wonder. His curiosity was, in its own way, sacred. He asked, is it necessary to invoke God to explain the origin of the universe? His answer, not if you have laws like gravity. But even that answer didn't close the door. Because then came the next question. Who created the laws? Newton and the clockmaker of the cosmos centuries before Hawking, another genius pondered the skies, Isaac Newton. His laws of motion and gravity changed everything. But unlike Hawking, Newton believed in God deeply. He saw the universe as a finely tuned machine, and God as its divine engineer. There's a famous story. Newton built a mechanical model of the solar system. It was intricate, beautiful, planets orbiting in harmony. One day, a fellow scientist asked, "Who made this?" Newton answered, "No one. It built itself." The man laughed, "Impossible. Someone had to create it." And Newton replied, "Then why do you think the real solar system, with far more beauty and complexity, has no creator?" To Newton, order meant intention, the Big Bang, creation without a creator. In the 20th century, science gave us a radical new origin story, the Big Bang. Roughly 13.8 billion years ago, everything, time, space, matter, exploded into being from a single point. This wasn't just the birth of stars, it was the birth of everything. Physicists now study how particles formed, how galaxies emerged, how laws like gravity shaped the cosmos. But the Big Bang doesn't explain why it happened, or what came before, or if there even was a before. Here, the line between science and faith becomes blurry. The laws that rule, but who wrote them? Today we know the universe obeys fixed, elegant rules: gravity, thermodynamics, quantum mechanics. Stephen Hawking said, "Because there is a law like gravity, the universe can and will create itself from nothing." But other thinkers ask, where did those laws come from? Who wrote the code? Why is the universe so ordered, so mathematically beautiful, if it came from chaos? Could laws themselves be the fingerprints of a divine mind? Question that haunts believers and skeptics alike. If God created the universe, who created God? But this question assumes that God exists within time, space, and cause. What if God exists outside those categories, beyond beginning and end? As many theologians explain, God is uncaused, eternal, and necessary, not subject to the laws he creates. Just as color has no taste, perhaps our minds, built for space and time, can't fully grasp a being beyond space and time. Faith, science, and the dance of truth. Faith and science are not enemies. They are two languages trying to describe the same all. Science asks how. Faith asks why. Science explains the mechanism. Faith contemplates the meaning. Maybe the real answer to our question isn't found in choosing one over the other, but in the space between them. Conclusion: the light behind the stars. So, did God create the universe? Maybe science will one day describe every mechanism, every law, every moment from the Big Bang to now. But the deeper question, the one that lingers in the silence of our soul, is not just how it all happened, but why there is anything at all. And in that question, each of us must look into the night sky, into our hearts, and answer for ourselves. Is there a light behind the stars? And if there is, what will you do with that light?